Hong Kong, one of the world's great financial capitals, where East meets West to make money. Towering monuments testify to its capitalist success, though times have been hard in recent years. Once a British colony, for 7 years it's been part of a political experiment. A free territory existing within communist Chinese control. Combining democracy and one-party rule was never going to be easy. In the lead-up to local parliamentary elections, politics in Hong Kong are their most heated since the handover. China has squashed hopes for greater democracy within the next 4 years. There are claims of media and political intimidation, and people are taking to the streets for freedom. In the second mass march in 2 years, hundreds of thousands of people braved stifling heat, filling the heart of Hong Kong for hours in a steady and peaceful procession.
Some people say, oh, Hong Kong people don't care about politics. They don't care about democracy. But they're wrong again. They all marched.
Hong Kong people have been yearning for democratic reform now for, I'd say, more than 2 decades. Slowly, gradually, but it's coming to a crescendo. In fact, I think we've kind of tipped over.
This year's 7th anniversary of the return of Hong Kong to the motherland wasn't a cause for celebration. China's recent decision to indefinitely delay full democracy in the territory by 2008 spurred people into action.
I think the people are very determined, especially this year when they marched to demand direct election in 2007 and 2008. Beijing had already spoken. Beijing had already said no. And people thought, oh, Hong Kong people are very pragmatic. If something's decided, they will move on. But they didn't.
Long-time pro-democracy campaigner Emily Lau is seeking re-election. In a fortnight, Hong Kong goes to the polls. For the first time, half the parliament will be directly elected. The rest will be chosen by industries, unions and professional groups, mostly aligned to Beijing.
I think that we have to fight for it. Democracy and freedoms and rule of law, they do not just grow on trees.
The people of Hong Kong can't choose their leader or their government. The politicians they'll elect to Parliament will have little real power. Under Hong Kong's mini-constitution, the Basic Law, China has pledged to allow one person, one vote, but who knows when.
Yes, in the Basic Law, it says, ultimately, we can have democracy. But you've also heard of the expression, ultimately, or in the long term, we're all dead.
Today we are here to hand out some leaflets to you.
Advocacy for change comes at a cost.
I'm Emily Lau calling on you for your support.
In recent months, Emily Lau's received death threats and her office has been attacked.
This is where they try to set it on fire. We had a poster here calling on the people to go to march on July 1st. So this guy came at around 1:30 or 2 a.m. and used this LPG canister to try to set it on fire. And he also scrawled some words here.
What did he say when he wrote that?
All traitors must die.
Albert Chung is a man who knows what it's like to be labelled a traitor. He's running for office as a pro-democracy independent. But until recently was the king of Hong Kong's airwaves, nicknamed Taipan. For 10 years, Albert Chung hosted a radio show, Teacup in a Storm, fiercely criticising the government and promoting democratic reforms. Several months ago, in a storm of publicity, he left the show, claiming he'd been threatened by a Chinese triad gangster to tone down or else.
Obviously, I'm the most influential opinion maker in Hong Kong. My opinion will affect how many people go on the street on July 1st. And, people voting for the Democratic camp, So I think that is what the purpose is. That's what they're worrying about.
Mr. Chung is in no doubt that Chinese officials are behind the triad threats.
And I think a lot of people take the matter on their own hand and try to doing a favour to these certain officials personally. Albert
Chung's not easily spooked. In 1998, he was nearly killed in a gangland-style knife attack outside his studio, but returned to the airwaves. No one has ever been charged. Now, having been silenced on radio, he's hoping a seat in the Legislative Council will be his new platform.
There's no choice for me. If I want to stay in Hong Kong, if I want to continue to serve Hong Kong people and continue to fight for justice, democracy, human rights, and freedom of speech, and also, most important, is maintain my freedom of expression, this is the only place I can go.
Albert Chung's tale of political intimidation isn't unique among media stars. Meet Alan Lee. Tonight he's co-hosting a series of election debates on cable television. But not long ago, he was Albert Chung's replacement on Teacup in a Storm. A respected former Hong Kong politician and delegate to China's national parliament, he lasted less than 2 weeks before he resigned. The final straw, a late-night approach.
Finally, I received a phone call from an official from Beijing. He claimed that he knows me well. Then he spoke about my family and etc. Then he said he wanted to see me.
The menacing calls stopped as soon as he gave up the show. Alan Lee's certain that China's trying to influence media coverage ahead of the September elections.
They are afraid to lose control in Hong Kong. Then it will affect the provinces in China. Now, at the end of the day, someday, the 1.3 billion people in China are going to ask, why can't we elect our own leader? A legitimate question needs to be addressed and needs to be answered.
People becoming more politically active?
I think so. If we look
Christine Lau, who runs an independent public policy think tank in Hong Kong, says China is also worried about independence.
If you were sitting up in Beijing, your fear is, what if people said they want some kind of self-determination, and their determination is that they might want to split away from China. So I think these are actually, I mean, they may sound ridiculous, but these are actually very core issues within the sort of Chinese thinking about politics.
This year, in an unprecedented move for Hong Kong, the People's Liberation Army put on a show to celebrate the 77th anniversary of their founding. The parade of military might was seen by some people here as a threat, others as an event to inspire nationalism and unity. Even pro-democracy campaigners were invited to attend the display of One China.
I said, sorry, thank you very much, but it's not my cup of tea. So I declined. And I said, I don't feel that the atmosphere is getting better. Otherwise, people would not call up my office to say they wanted to hack off my head.
Looking on was the embattled chief executive, Tung Chee-hwa. He's caught between the aspirations of Hong Kong and the heavy hand of his communist masters, and popularly viewed as ineffective.
Our problem with Mr. Tung is we don't think he is promoting Hong Kong's case vigorously or well in Beijing. Now, of course, Hong Kong is a part of China. We cannot do what we want.
Hong Kong's Constitutional Affairs Secretary, Stephen Lam, says the government is doing its best.
I would say that the chief executive has done what he can and has done what he believes to be in the interests of Hong Kong. Governments all over the world can be popular or unpopular, but our mission is to steady people's nerves, push ahead with the restructuring of the economy, and deliver the goodies.
On the streets of Hong Kong, the bright neon lights are a gay facade. No reflection of what's inside the hearts of the people.
I睇呢個特區政府，因為佢個管治能力係唔係咁理想啦。完全好多都唔同咗啦，生活咧就比較壓迫啦。同埋咧，好多自由程度都好，即係冇以前咁好咯。同埋你講嘅説話啊，各方面咧都有好多轉制啦。
Wong Shi-kwai has been driving taxis in Hong Kong for 25 years.
如果有普選咧，我相信香港人冇咁多爭拗，亦都比較即係緩和一啲。
Hong Kong's financial woes from the Asian economic crisis and SARS virus are fading, but the experience of years of deflation and falling property prices has changed the public mood.
所以佢希望咧就全面直選，希望選一啲咧比較有管治才能嘅，希望帶起香港個經濟。我相信香港人依家有一半以上都係唔會相信共產黨，對共產黨係有一種懷疑嘅態度。
So the important thing is really work hard and understand the principles of government.
So why the pool?
Why the pool? Well, first of all, it might have some practical use and also it's good feng shui. That means the idea water is supposed to be like money. Now, if the sky, the gods are nice to you, they might send you some rain, send you some money, and you've got to have a big receptacle.
Life at the top of Hong Kong is good. Engineer Sir Gordon Wu is one of Hong Kong's richest and most influential business leaders.
Anybody who doesn't think that Hong Kong has to depend on the PRC must be the biggest idiot on earth, because you're talking about getting access to a 1.3 billion people market.
Links with China, he believes, are vital, and he's building one, an enormous bridge and tunnel network to the mainland. He has little patience for the pro-democratic fight, believing, like Beijing, that Hong Kong is not ready.
So for Beijing, we know that they're working toward universal suffrage, but what they need is time. In the meanwhile, they give Hong Kong a breathing space in that you keep your own system. So why is that? Then we want to criticize them, you're no good, and want to start a revolution. That's not our fight. And that's how I look at it.
People like Gordon had it too good in Hong Kong, okay? And what a lot of people are calling them the fat cats of Hong Kong. And when they have that kind of thing, you know, how can you argue with them?
Hong Kong people do want universal suffrage. They do believe that they are able, they want to, and they're able to choose their own political leaders.
俾啲嘢你哋派俾嗰啲人啊，咁咧9月12號記得咧就唔好開心啦，唔好開心啦，出咗海都翻嚟，咁咧就幫手助選，咁同埋咧叫佢哋啲家爺仔乸咧都要去投票。喂，睇數。
Chris Chung is a candidate for Hong Kong's largest pro-Beijing party. The party sees itself as a bridge between Hong Kong and the mainland. Mr. Chung is hunting for votes among fishermen who ply Hong Kong and Chinese waters.
喺某啲情況底下，你可以話我哋係親北京，其實我哋係一個愛國嘅政黨咧。我哋覺得我哋嘅國家而家係進步緊，我哋支持國家進步，支持國家民主，呢個係我哋每一個中國人嘅責任。送人咯喎！
This election for Chris Chung and his party is likely to be tough. Being close to China isn't necessarily a vote winner. Having a bet each way, his party proposes the introduction of universal suffrage in 2012 and warns of the consequences should the Democrats win a majority this election.
咁嘅時候咧，對我香港嘅發展咧，香港嘅經濟發展咧，就會出現咧大大嘅危機，而國際上咧亦都使到香港對香港咧就會冇信心，失去信心。
When you read all the speeches of the central government's leaders, they are not averse to all these things, except one thing. The biggest worry, they want stability. What they don't want is the country multi-parties, all fractured, and there will be even civil war, that kind of thing. What they want is stability. And they believe that all these changes should come gradually.
新界西咧就80幾萬，我本來係新界西嘅。嗱呢種咁嘅選舉制度，我哋一定要推翻，我哋一定要追求普選。
Former radio announcer Albert Chung is now blazing a campaign trail with the support of Emily Lau.
支持民主嘅候選人。
所以咧
Whatever the election outcome, their fight for democracy is sure to continue.
I am a middle-aged woman in a hurry. I want to see it in my lifetime. I also want to see democracy in the mainland in my lifetime.
At the moment, we are at crossroads. We are debating the pace and form at which we should attain universal suffrage as the ultimate aim for our constitutional developments.
For the people of Hong Kong, government rhetoric is no assurance that their democratic dreams will be realised. The freedoms already enjoyed here, in China's only free city, exist only on paper in the mainland. The dilemma for China is that Hong Kong's citizens want to run their own affairs. The dilemma for Hong Kong is that, like it or not, it's now part of China, and its future will be decided by the communists in Beijing.